Hi, this is Dave Bartosowitz. I'm in Poitiers, France. And I gotta tell you, we've been out with my wife and I. Here's my wife. See? There she is. And actually, we've been visiting a lot of old churches, churches that were first started in the 500s and AD, and it just amazes me how in Europe there is so many old relics and old statues. The symbology, if that's even a word, my wife said it, she doesn't even know if it's a word, of Christianity is prevalent all over in France. You see crosses everywhere. As a matter of fact, I gazed up in this town where I'm at, and I saw the Virgin Mary with the child, with Jesus, holding the child. And I was so impressed with that. She was overlooking the actual city, and she had her arm out, like giving a blessing to the city. In Orthodoxy and other churches, I think in Catholicism, it's known as the Theotokos. She's the God-bearer. But one of the things that we get to see, she was 20 feet tall in gold and just overlooking the city. Beautiful, just beautiful. And we had to drive all the way up there. But one of the things that I just don't get is, I hear so many people who consistently tell me in the United States, who are Protestants, who are evangelicals, who are, kind of like they're saying there was a Reformation. There really was a Reformation, no doubt about it. But it was by Martin Luther, and I've said before, if Martin Luther was here today, would he be really shocked to see what happened, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of denominations that occurred? I'm sure he would be very surprised what happened after he did what he did and all the changes that came. But the fact remains is this. The fact remains is when you look at the ancient, the old church, the beginning of Christianity, I mean, people tell me it's a fake church. And when you look at the beginning of the ancient church, it started really with Peter and James and John and Mark and the apostles. They went out. And I don't know how much you know about the ancient path, but to me, when you see all these buildings and when you see the significance, the importance, the tradition of many of these old buildings and the doctrine and the apostolic doctrine, and you just poo-poo it, to me it makes no sense. I mean, and to me it makes absolutely no sense to me when people say that it's a fake church when there's so much historical basis of truth about this church. It's the Holy Catholic Apostolic Church, and to dismiss that, to basically say it's not important and it failed or it had no relevance in my life, it has no relevance. To me, it's ludicrous to even to go that direction, because you have to study. You have to study and see for yourself that there actually was a beginning church. There absolutely was, by the apostles, a setup of bishops and deacons, and you see it all around. The saints are everywhere. You see saints in many of these churches. I mean, they are devout. They were devout believers of Christ. We had the opportunity yesterday to go to Leonardo da Vinci home, and where he died. He was there for 3 years in Amboise. And I was so impressed of the man of God and the commitment he had to Jesus. And he was one of the greatest creators of all time and greatest artists of all time. And you just evaluate those things, and you have to ask yourself, man, this is going on for thousands of years, and in the United States here you are, and this is where I'm at right now. You can see the ancient city and the cafes and everything. You evaluate this and you say to yourself, you have to ask yourself this: there really was a city. There really was a significance of the church that was established by the apostles. And it goes back. Like I said, guys, it goes all the way back. And how it goes back is this. There are five religious Christian centers that started. There was the Church of Jerusalem, there was the Church of Rome, there was the Church of Antioch, there was the Church of Alexandria, and it was also the Church of Constantinople. These were the centers of Christianity from the apostles. They opened up these churches, and it continues. It continues at this day. Yeah, there were some issues, no doubt about it. There were heretics, no doubt about it. There are heresies, no doubt about it. But it corrected itself. It continued to correct because the bishops, you know, they excommunicated those priests or bishops that had different teachings. And you could go to the ecumenical councils, you could study those. In the Orthodox space, I'm an Eastern Orthodox Christian. You could go and study the 7 ecumenical councils and learn. Just don't poo-poo it. I mean, it's real. There's so much mystery. And I think one of the worst things that the Reformation did afterwards is the Eucharist. I mean, it's the real presence of Christ. It changes your life. And there are so many people who are thinking just a symbol, you know. I mean, there's so much truth about it. You go back to the beginning of Ignatius, he talks about it. In 105 AD, as the bishop of the Church of Antioch, he just closes it. He talks about the real presence. The Gnostics were against it, but he made very clear that it was the real presence and how it turned into the real presence. It's about the wine, the warm water, as well as the bread. And I'm so impressed with that. Why? Because it's that transformation. It's exactly what happened with Christ when he was stabbed on the side. What came out? Blood and water out of his lungs, right? And so they really, really believe, honestly, that it transforms into the mysterious way of Jesus's body. Now, you can't eat all of Jesus, obviously, and no one can ever, but it turns it in a very mysterious way that allows people to have that experience with God, and I love it. So think, test, guys, test. Go back to the beginning, go back to the early Christian faith, and you'll see for yourself that it's really true. Anyway, God bless you guys. Au revoir from France.